Alright, next step will be to make our enemy to actually move. But and movement is quite easy. But though we should also consider the fact that we want to make some chasing mechanics. So our enemy should be able to detect when our player is close enough. And if our player will be close enough, he should start basically chasing us. But for now, let's concentrate on the animation. And today's task will be to create some range. Detecting range. And when our player will get to that range, our enemy should start playing running animation. And when we go outside of that range, our enemy should go back to the idle state. For that, we'll go in the scripts folder. Now let's create C# script. Now let's call this enemy controller. And well, obviously we will assign this enemy controller to the actual enemy, which is our dragon in this case. So let our script compile. I will drag and drop my enemy controller there. And then we will continue working. And I will explain you how to do it. Well, actually, we will need to just calculate distance between enemy and our player. And then we can simply say a simple logic to Unity. Check the distance between those two game objects. And if distance is less than our desired range, or detecting range start chasing our player or start playing our running animation. So let's try and drop. Oh, I did 2 times, no worries. Let's double click to open Individual Studio. And we will create few variables. One will be for the player reference. Public game object player. Let's call this one player. Also, we will need to floats public floats. One will be for the detecting range. So let's call this one detecting range. And one will be for the speed public float move speed. Also, we will need reference for the animator, which our enemy has animator component. So we can say private's animator. Let's call this one anime simply. Well, in this chart we should get reference to the animator. And we will use get components metered. So we will say anime equals get components. And the component's name is animator. They are also other ways how you can get reference to the game objects. For example, let me teach you other ways for the player. Let's not use get component, instead let's use tags. You already saw that we have tags. So for example, we select player, and if we open tags, it already has default tag for the player. So let's assign this player tag to the player. If you don't have this tag for some reason, what you can do, you can create tag. You can click at tag, click plus right here our player. And then assign player to the player game object. But anyway, we have a side tag of player there. And now we can say player equals game object, but with a capital first letter dot. Find object with tag. Find object with tag, and in brackets and quotation marks, we can say name of the tag. Spell it correctly because it's case sensitive. But anyway, this method will also work just fine. Alright, let's continue. As I said, we should calculate distance between our player and enemy. For that, we will also need to store that information into some variable, into some container. So in the update, let's create float. Let's call this one distance. And to calculate distance between two game objects, we can use vector-free dodge distance method, which does exactly same say that I say. Calculate basically distance between 2 points. And well, we want to calculate distance between our enemy, which is transform dot position, and between our player, which is player dot transform dot position. Okay, we have distance also. What we can do, just to check if this distance was working correctly, we can say debug.log. And in brackets, we can say distance which means that we will see distance amounts in the console wheel, in the Unity editor, which might be handy for now just for the testing. And well, now, we can say simple logic, that if our distance is less than our desire, detecting range, something should happen, right? Well, in this case, we should play animation, running animation, and to play running animation, we can say anime.sayBoo. We are telling sayBoo because if you remember, when we did that animation for the enemy, we created this parameter which was bullying. That's why we are telling sayBoo. Now in brackets and quotation marks, we should say name of that parameter, which is in range in my case, and type your parameter correctly in the brackets. Otherwise, it will not work. It's in range in my case just like this. And we will say it's to be true. And if we select the transition, you know that we set up, not set our transitions so that when its range is will be true, our enemy will start running. So that's exactly what we are doing. And if we are not in the detecting range, so else we can say anime.setBoo. In brackets and quotation marks, we can say in range, false. So that's we will be in the ideal state again. We can save the script, that's pretty much it. Simple way, how we can basically play different animations and have some detecting range. So let's select the player. Well, actually, let's select the dragon. And we should say detecting range. I don't know, let's say 5 for now. Or let's make it free and move speed also. Well, it doesn't matter cause our enemy is not able to move right now, but I'll make it free and now let's hit play. If you remember, as I said, we will see the amount of the distancing. The console will show right now our distance is 5. Detecting range is free and our enemy still. So let's go closer. And yeah, when we are in the range, as you see, we are into 0.8. Our enemy start running well. He's playing running animation. He's not actually moving, but yeah, when we go outside of the range, he goes back to the idle state, which is very nice. And it also means that detection is working. I'll end this video over here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any new videos. See you in the next videos.